Hello and welcome to the 10th episode of Jedi Eternal. I'm one of your hosts, Andrew Bolin, alongside the talented singer. You can check him out on Facebook.
Oh gosh.
I like to call him Brent Jr.
Don't.
The Braxton Taylor.
What a terrible introduction. How embarrassing. How embarrassing.
We're in full swing today, ladies and gentlemen.
Gosh. Yeah. We're in full swing here, folks. But anyway, guys, Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. This is our 10th episode. We were going to do something kind of special for this, but with all the craziness going on nowadays, we just wanted to just have a regular episode.
Yeah.
So
we don't have any news really today. We have lots of stories, but we, again, as we always say, want to make sure that what we are telling you guys about is as honest and truthful as possible and as accurate as possible. And so all of these stories today that we're going to talk about, we don't feel like we can truly say for sure that any of them are confirmed.
Right.
So for that reason, we are going to consider all of these in our rumor section today. So as we talk about all these stories, please remember we are considering these rumors for now until we have better sources.
Right.
So let's jump straight into the first one, Braxton.
All right. Yeah. So Rosario, this has been a big one recently, and I've actually not been in arguments, but I've been in a lot of debates online because a lot of people are telling me this is true, this is news. Like, well, really, it's technically still a rumor. But Rosario Dawson has been rumored to play Ahsoka Tano in Mandalorian Season 2, which is a really crazy thing. So first of all, an official Disney/Lucasfilm announcement, so that's kind of why we put it in the rumor bill. But Rosario Dawson is the main one that has been rumored for this to be so. So
yeah, so we've been like you said, getting everyone's talking about this news as like confirmed, and from everything I can see, I don't see it being confirmed yet.
Right.
We've heard for a long time. When Ahsoka's finally in a live action, get Rosario Dawson. People have been saying that for a long time.
Right.
And so that's why part of me remains a little skeptical on it.
Yeah.
Because how often does a fan
prediction
or a fan, not even prediction, but like a fan what's it called when they fan casting? How often does that actually turn out to be
rarely
the actor they choose, right?
Rarely.
So that part of me is kind of skeptical on that. And the other thing is nobody can tell us where this source truly is, where this source is coming from.
I have a group that I'm a part of on Facebook, and it's just kind of like a hardcore Star Wars fans, blah blah blah, and someone posted a link from Sci-Fi, like the TV channel, posted this as if it was true, and so I go into the link and it says Vanity, which is another group, media group, which is pretty reputable.
Right,
says Vanity confirms that. So I click on Vanity's link and just says we confirmed. Like it doesn't say, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we really don't know. And like there's some people that was very much like coming at me like, oh, this is true. Sci-Fi wouldn't lie.
Well, I'm looking at IGN right now, which I enjoy a lot of IGN's articles. They say that Slash Film has confirmed the news from 2 independent sources.
Right. Yeah.
So again, it's
still not Disney.
I think with as many people that have reported this, I feel like it probably is the case. As surprising as it does seem, I feel like there's a good chance this truly is happening. But until I see it from Star Wars, Lucasfilm, from the actress herself, something like that, until I see that, I'm going to continue to assume this is a rumor.
Right. So now here's the thing. This is kind of a hotly debated thing because everybody knows and loves Ahsoka as this new character, and the person who really brought this character to life, aside from the writing and animation, is Ashley Eckstein, or Eckstein, however you say her name exactly. But You know, a lot of people were like, well, why isn't she playing? Like, you can't have Ahsoka without her voice. So there's actually a comment that Ashley Eckstein had came out and kind of addressed the casting rumor, and she had some comments on that. Drew, I think you had a quote.
Yeah, I have it. So she said, last week a rumor was released about Ahsoka Tano being in Season 2 of The Mandalorian. I've read all your questions and comments about this story, and thank you for your patience as I've taken the much-needed time to sort through these questions. The truth is, I am not involved in The Mandalorian. I can't answer questions for something I have not been a part of. I am an actress, and I have performed in all types of mediums, live action, film, television, theater, voiceover, hosting, and it has been my dream for 14 years to continue to play Ahsoka Tano in all forms. I will continue to be grateful for opportunities to help create stories for Ahsoka, and I'm always happy to see her legacy continue. I am only one member of a tremendously talented team of people that it takes to bring Ahsoka Tano to life. The final decisions for Ahsoka are not mine to make, and I cannot comment on something that I truly know nothing about.
So it's easy to say she's tore up about it. Ashley is tore up about this.
And here's my take on the whole thing. I feel like you got to have Ashley involved somehow.
Absolutely.
I get. Okay, when you look at Rosario Dawson, you can see how they could easily make her into Ahsoka.
Right,
like
I
think
looks,
the appearance wise, I think she could really will be able to play it off well. But the thing that gets to me though is I don't know that her voice will be able to be.
No,
Ahsoka has we all know her by her voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ashley has brought a very what's the word I'm looking for? Distinct, yes, a very distinct voice.
Right,
and so. I kind of thought, when I first heard this, I thought, okay, well, they're going to have to do what they did with Darth Maul. They're going to have to bring in Ray Park as the face, but Sam Witwer as the voice, and they're going to have to do the same thing with Ahsoka.
Which worked out well.
Which did work out well, but it was only a couple lines.
Exactly.
The thing is when you have a ton of scenes, depending on how much she's in it, she may not be in it very much at all.
Right.
But, you know, depending on how much she's in it, that could play a role in that. So here's the thing. She may truly know nothing about it yet, but they maybe just haven't asked her yet.
True.
But maybe their plan is to have Rosario Dawson be the face, but still let Ashley come in and voice over the lines.
Right. Well, and here's the thing, though. We're getting not terribly close, but we're getting pretty close to to October, which is when Mandalorian Season 2 is coming out, right? That's like 7 months, right? I think 7 months away, getting close to 6 months away. I mean, I just feel like if this is going to happen, it would almost need to already have been done.
Well, so that's very true. For Rosario, I don't know if I'm saying her name exactly. Rosario. You guys know who I'm talking about.
We have very much trouble pronouncing names.
We're just Indiana country boys, all right?
Country boys. Yeah. So
okay. So anyway,
I almost have a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry.
So I don't know what I was saying anymore.
You said about Rosario Dawson. We just started talking about our country roots, and we just get all riled up, boys.
So, but with Ahsoka, my thing is we know we talked about it a couple weeks ago about how they said filming was done.
Right? I was just looking this up. So March 9th.
Let's say that she's already done her part and everything. Well, you know, a lot of times voiceovers and stuff do come later in the process. Mm-hmm. So again, maybe they haven't talked to her, but at the same time, it's like, wouldn't you talk to her and
make sure she's available?
And the thing that really, and I know we're talking on this a long time, but it's kind of a big deal.
Right.
One of the things that really confuses me about all of this is Dave Filoni created this character, chose Ashley to be the voice.
Yeah.
Clearly, they have a very close relationship based off everything I've ever seen. They've been around each other for years. They seem to really care about each other and all of that. And he plays a big part of this Mandalorian series.
Yeah.
So where is the disconnection there? How would he be doing this, bringing her in, and he's not even told Ashley about it? That's where none of this lines up to me.
Right.
And so
that means it's either not happening or she's playing the dumb card on purpose or something. I don't know.
Maybe there's more to the story. Maybe she has been offended, or I don't know.
That could
Maybe,
be the case.
but anyways, I just think we need to hear more of this story.
Right.
So there's one other thing to add to this.
Oh, okay.
There's one other rumor to add to all of this, and that is that they are saying, some sources have also said that this is the beginning. The reason they're doing this, the reason they're throwing Ahsoka into Mandalorian, is that she's going to have her own live action series on Disney Plus.
I heard about that. Yeah.
So what do you think about that? You think that's true?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's very much dependent upon two things. Obviously, if this is true or not, right? And then secondarily, it's also dependent upon the success of... Because, okay, so this is... I don't mean to shoot off a rabbit trail here, but this seems to me, in my perspective, this is the strategy of Disney right now and Star Wars, is that they're trying little things here and there to gauge the success and interest of something before they deep dive into it. For instance, my opinion, like I said, this is not confirmed or anything. This is just Braxton Taylor's opinion, right? But with the whole High Republic thing, you can't tell me that if this becomes wildly successful, that we're not going to get movies and games and TV shows of this, right? Like, this is a whole new... Like, I don't even know what the word is, not era. Well, it is, I guess, but you know what I'm saying? Whole new era, whole new section, whole new part of the Star Wars galaxy that we've never seen before. And you're going to tell me we're not going to get movies? My opinion, they're saying, like, whoa, hold the brakes. We're not going to do movies. We're just throwing some books and comics out there, see if you like it. And like, oh, then if it's good.
Right.
So for me, if this is true, they're going to throw Ahsoka out there live action. Oh, does it look good? Does fans still think, oh, hey, it's still Ahsoka? And side note, if they don't have Ashley, it's going to be difficult to convince people this is still Ahsoka, because going to live action is a huge jump, in my opinion, for any animated thing, no matter if Star Wars or not.
Right.
But anyway, long story short, my point being is that I would definitely like to see how it goes over in season 2 of Mandalorian, if this even is true. And I mean, because here's the thing, I like Ahsoka, and I wouldn't mind seeing a live action if they do it well, and I think that's dependent.
Yeah, I think if they do it, it has to be the story that we've been hoping for, which is Ahsoka looking for Ezra, going after Ezra, her and Sabine, which then makes me wonder if we're getting Ahsoka, are we going to get Sabine as well in The Mandalorian? I don't know.
True.
A lot of unanswered questions. Again, guys, as far as we are concerned, this is all rumors still.
Right.
I know, again, a lot of places are saying this is the truth. This is really happening, and maybe it is. But again, until we see a reliable source,
right,
we are going to continue to stand on this being rumors,
because we are the bastions of truth in the midst of all the lies. Anyway,
what he said.
Yeah. So anyway, let's move on.
Yes, on to the next Mandalorian, if you can.
Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah. So again, we're terrible at pronouncing names. But anyway, so Michael Biehn or however you say his name, Biehn, I don't know, has supposedly rumored to have been cast for Mandalorian season 2, and secondarily, Bill Burr has been rumored to be coming back.
And they're saying that this Michael Biehn is playing a bounty hunter from the Mando's past.
Yeah. So that'd be interesting to see.
And I'm not surprised that Bill Burr's coming back.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, there's some people who really didn't like his character all that much, but at the same time, I think it did play well, right?
Yeah.
I think he played well with the character he was given. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I think that they could have wrote him a little bit better, or I don't know. Maybe it was just me, but long story short, I think it makes sense that Bill Burr would be coming back, whether Michael is not.
Another rumor we have is that the Rogue One prequel, on Disney Plus, they've revealed a little synopsis here. It says, follows the adventures of rebel spy Cassian Andor during the formative years of the rebellion and prior to the events of Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Diego Luna will reprise the role of Andor, which he originated in the 2016 film. The rousing spy thriller will explore tales filled with espionage and daring missions to restore hope to a galaxy in the grip of a ruthless empire. Nothing too surprising there. Pretty much exactly what I assumed it would be. Right. But hey, we're just reporting on it for you guys. So there it is. I don't think there's a whole lot to say. still sometimes wonder if this series is truly ever going to happen, but
Right. I mean, we have nothing concrete.
we
that
lots
even
and
exists.
lots of talk, but until I see something, I'm still skeptical on that one. But
Right, exactly. I really don't know about that either. There's like I said, been so many talks. In fact, well, what was it? 2 weeks
they say it's
ago?
coming. They say it's coming.
Well, 2 weeks ago, we was hoping we would have seen that through the London premiere stuff, and we didn't even get that. We didn't get any.
They said they were going to do some
digital
some behind the scenes for reporters and stuff, but I never heard anything.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything either. So. Yeah, so anyway, so that's pretty much it on that. I don't think we can talk too much about that. So I think that's it for our.
We got one more here.
Okay.
We have the Star Wars 1313 game, which some of you guys may have remembered was a very cool looking game. Had a really cool trailer.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be you're supposed to be playing some kind of bounty hunter, like a young apprentice bounty hunter. And anyways, it ended up being canceled right around the time that Disney bought Star Wars, and everything kind of got upended. Any stories that were still working on at that point got canceled, and so unfortunately it was taken out of that. But a picture has shown up, and again, guys, there's no way to know if this is legitimate or not.
Right.
This is a picture somebody has said they've gotten a hold of. It was on Reddit. It looks super believable. Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen the picture. I can show it to you too, Rex.
I don't think so.
But,
yeah.
It looks super believable. It looks like he's standing there. But anyways, what's the big thing about this picture is it's Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And they had said a couple different times that like this isn't about Boba Fett, blah blah blah. But everyone kind of hoped it was, anyways.
Yeah.
And there had been rumors that it was gonna be about Boba Fett in some way. So anyways, this picture kind of confirms that if this is a real picture, it looks pretty good, especially being like 6 or 7 years old or however old it is. But what's really interesting about this, and the reason I wanted to talk about it, because this would have been insane if this is truly the case. But it says, according to various leaks and rumors over the years, LucasArts had actually intended for Fett to kill off the original protagonist at some point in the game before switching control of the bounty hunter over to the player.
Really?
Imagine that twist.
Wow.
Imagine that playing as this, this novice bounty hunter, and you're playing through like halfway through the game, all of a sudden you get taken out by Boba Fett, and then you start playing as Boba Fett.
That would have been the greatest gaming moment
that would have been
in history.
Yeah, that would have been a huge twist. Some people may have been upset, but I think I would have probably loved it.
That would have been really cool.
And so I just thought that was a very neat. Yeah. I still hope one day that, especially if this picture's real, it shows how much had been done on it already, and how it was like a legit game. I encourage you guys to search it, look for this picture we're talking about, because it looks like a finished product. Yeah, and I'm sure the whole game wasn't finished, but at least some of it was.
There was some gameplay that we even got to see at one point.
Yeah, which that can be kind of staged, and that could have been it could have only been just that was done, kind of deal.
But I'm saying that even if they had that, though, it's still showing.
Right. So I hope one day we're going to see a little more of what this game was.
Right.
I don't think we're ever going to play it, not the version that it is at least, but I would love to see finally the developers of it, which actually I don't know that they're even, I can't remember who the developers were, but they probably have been disbanded at this point. But I would love for them to be able to be like, hey, this is what we worked on. Here's like an hour of footage of the game, just so you guys can enjoy what we had done.
The developer was LucasArts. So
right. So yeah, that's gone. So.
Yeah. Well, and on a side note, episode 5 of Clone Wars was actually a pretty neat little nod to it, if you remember. Whenever Trace was talking to Ahsoka, he's like, "Where am I?" It's like, "Oh, you're level 1313." I'm like,
13.
"Hey, wow, that's pretty cool." It's like, so anyway, kind of random, but
yeah,
interesting though that we get to see this random screenshot from 1313 after all these years, and we got to see a level 1313 reference in Clone Wars. So that's really
very
random,
true.
Super rumor, deep rumor, but
deep rumor there. But you have a point.
That's
you do have a point. That is interesting.
And here's the thing: when we started seeing all these High Republic craziness, just drips and things here and there, little references, we all of a sudden got this huge thing. So who knows? Who knows? Hey, we called it here first on Jedi Eternal.
Hey, we did call that tower in the Star Wars comic, and we ended up being the case. So,
we did.
Anyways,
we're legit. You know what we're talking
So
about.
we are going to go ahead and move on to our releases.
Yep.
Now, a couple of things that came out way out of the blue. We didn't even know about this last week when we reported on releases. So, because usually when we do our releases, we report on the coming week.
Right.
But we're going to go ahead and tell you about two things that I believe are out right now for you to purchase. One of those is the classic Star Wars Episode 1 Racer
Yeah.
coming to Nintendo Switch
Yeah.
and PS4.
Yeah, that was so cool. I was, I played that a lot when I was younger. But then, in fact, there's actually made an arcade game out of it where you can do like manual controls of a pod racer. That was super fun, and I'm really glad that we're starting to see some of these older games starting to come to light. You know what I'm saying? I'm starting to see them come to modern platforms and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it's neat. I think for me, it's really cool for nostalgia purposes, but I don't think like I really have that much of an itch to actually play it.
Right. No, I understand. Yeah.
I don't even know that I will buy either this or the next one we're going to talk about. But
really, I thought you'd be buying the next one.
I
probably
thought about
will.
it, but okay. So let me make one little. They actually don't have a release date for Racer yet.
Oh, okay.
It says just noting that it's coming soon to Switch and PS4.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't appear that I have a feeling it's going to be just like this other one we're about to mention. I think they're just going to release it like just surprise it's released.
Yeah,
so be on the
exactly.
lookout for that. If you guys are excited about that, just be watching. It could be out by the time we're done with this podcast. So
Who knows anymore?
and then the other one, which is a series I was a huge fan of growing up,
Yep.
and that is Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy.
Yeah. That like right there, that for me, I know a lot of people played Outcast, and I did too. I mean, I played all of them. But for whatever reason, when I was younger, for the longest time, I just had on the original Xbox, I had Jedi Academy, and I played that game so much. And for me, I probably would end up buying this one because for nostalgia purposes more than anything.
Yeah,
But,
so I actually played way more of the second one because
Mm-hmm.
when Jedi Academy came out, my Xbox was already messed up. And I think I may have mentioned this before on the podcast, how I had real bad Xbox problems.
Yeah.
And I'd have to like put the disc in over and over again. So I would play parts of Jedi Academy, like the beginning parts, and then my Xbox would eventually quit on me, and I'd have to
Yeah.
restart and from the beginning and do it again. And I kept doing that over and over. It's a sad story, but anyways.
It's very sad, yeah.
I still enjoy Jedi Academy, but I never got into as much as the second one. The second one I played tons of on my GameCube.
Yeah.
So anyways, this is also only available on Switch and PS4. Why not Xbox?
I don't know. It's a really good question.
Well, because they're actually, are they already on Xbox? Is Jedi Academy already on Xbox?
You know what? Now that you say that,
I think Jedi Academy.
I think it might be.
I think Jedi Academy might already be on Xbox. I don't think I don't know about the Pod Racer one, but I'm pretty certain that.
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
It
yeah.
is.
Because I was thinking that one and the second one I think came to Xbox not that long ago.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing with the Pod Racer one. I don't think so, and it didn't mention Xbox.
Well,
so.
and these games have been updated with modern controls.
I saw that.
I don't believe that the Xbox versions are updated. I think there's still just the plain original Xbox Classic versions because Xbox can do that, backwards compatible.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that they're the updated ones, but anyways, you can get a hold of that game on basically any console at this point. So any of the current consoles.
Yeah.
So moving on to comics. Comics are a little iffy at the moment with the current state of the world. They're saying there might be some delays coming up ahead. So I'm not entirely sure. It's looking really shaky for May right now on comic releases. But as of this moment, I'm fairly certain that these two are going to come out in April 1st. Dr. Aphra 1. They're, again, just like Star Wars and Darth Vader, they have reset that number because now it's after Empire Strikes Back. And so Dr. Aphra 1 will be out, and then Star Wars Adventures, The Clone Wars, Battle Tales 1. Very long title, but is supposedly coming out on April 1st as well. Again, I'm a little shaky on this because I just hear a lot of stuff going on. I've heard people saying that like Marvel and DC and IDW, all these places are not going to do their comics. So
Okay.
we will just
We'll just try to see what happens.
we'll just have to see. I'm hoping that those continue because I really like having Star Wars comics every week.
Right. Well, that's always something to look forward to.
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
yeah.
it's nice. So, well, without any further ado, we're gonna go ahead and move on to our Q&A forum here. Let's see here. Yeah, okay, sorry. I'm just checking my stuff here. Anyway, like we do every week, we make a Facebook post where you guys are going to ask us questions, bring up topics, and more. Whatever you guys want to comment, like I said, whether it be a question or a topic or just some kind of thing you want us to even just start talking about, you guys have the opportunity to do that every week. And you guys have been so awesome and faithful to do that every week, so we're so thankful for that. But as many of you already know, we just always want to throw this out there in case you've got some new listeners who are like, hey, why didn't you answer my question? We try to do 3 questions, topic suggestions, whatever, every week. And if we have more than that, which we did this week, we think we had 2 more over the 3. Anyway, we always put it in a queue. And so next week, your question will be the first one to be answered next week. So don't worry. I'm sorry if you didn't get to hear it this week, but if you didn't, it will be the first one to be answered next week. So anyway, let's move on. So for the first question comes from our good friend Greg Stewart again. And he says, what do we know about Yoda and his species? So
Not much.
But he has as of right now, pretty much nothing. And like that's the thing. We can go into current canon, and we can go into Legends canon, and we still know nothing. Like, I think George Lucas did that kind of on purpose.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely on purpose.
But
with Baby Yoda, it's kind of opened up a couple more details on just the fact that they're babies for at least 50 years, and we don't know exactly how long they continue in that stage. But
let's back up a little bit here for some people who may not know. As of right now, we don't know the name of their species. We don't know what planet they're from.
Right.
And thirdly, I guess, we only know if in Legends and in current canon, we only know 3 beings that are of their species, which is Yoda, Yaddle, and now Baby Yoda, which is
in canon, just the 3 of them.
The child for whatever. But anyway, so I wanted to state that right off the bat because some people may not know that.
Right. So now we know that there's been a lot of talk about Mandalorian eventually getting to the point where the Baby Yoda gets back to its family.
Well, because remember the last one, he says like it's your duty to find his tribe or his clan or whatever.
If they finally do get, and part of that rumor was also we're going to learn the name of the species and different things like that, and so we might actually end up finding out a lot about Yoda's species, but I think until either the Mandalorian's going to do it eventually. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know that it'll be touched.
I think if we're ever going to see something, it will be in the Mandalorian.
At this point, it's going to have to be done by Dave Filoni, probably.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I think George Lucas probably will let Dave Filoni do it if he wants, but probably no one else. Which I realize they don't necessarily have to.
They don't have to listen to
George Lucas's permission, but I think that when touching something like as sacred as Yoda's species, I think they have talked to him.
Yeah.
And I say he's probably laid it out for Dave Filoni what that is, what he's had in his head and just hasn't told anyone.
Exactly.
And so anyways, I think that's how we will learn about it. But
another part of their species, like you wanted to talk about their species. So one thing is we don't know if their species are all inherently force sensitive or not. Because here's the thing. All 3 of Yoda species that we've seen are force sensitive. Right. So are they innately force sensitive, or we just coincidentally all 3 of them we have seen force sensitive? So that's again just a lot of unanswered questions.
We know they live a long time.
Yeah, live a very long time,
and they stay babies for a long time.
Yeah, their aging progress is
not sure when they become when they come out of the baby stage, but apparently it's sometime after 50 years.
And we don't know if it's like a gradual or like one day like
all of a sudden,
all of a sudden he's like,
hey, who knows? So
anyway, I'm just imagining that image. Anyway, so let's move on. Our second question comes from Josh in Birkinshaw, and he asked, he says this: talk about Rey's lightsaber hilt design and blade collar at the end of the Rise of Skywalker. And then he goes on to say, could Rey have achieved true balance to the Force? And can it really be true balance if there is a Jedi and no Sith? Could Rey be a gray Jedi? So let's tackle the first part of that topic / question there first, and let's talk about Rey's lightsaber hilt design and blade color at the end of ROS. So you can go ahead and take off.
So with the lightsaber, I didn't notice it when I first watched the movie. I didn't notice the color changes going on. But now that people have been able to watch it multiple times and stuff, they've pointed out where it goes from like blue, green to yellow, right?
Right.
And so my opinion on it is it's probably she has made one that can change colors.
Yeah.
That's just my guess.
So and when he says that, we got to preface that we don't know where her kyber crystal came from.
Correct.
At this point, we don't know.
Now I will also add on to that I've heard that the novelization of the movie gives more information out about this. I saw like a title from an article that was mentioning that. However, I'm not going to look into that because I want to enjoy the novel and learn some of these extra things for myself, and I haven't got that far in the novel yet. So some of you who have already finished the novel or have just read articles and don't care about spoilers, you guys may know more about this already. However, I'm going to wait. So once I'm finished with the novel, I might be able to tell you guys more. But until then, I'm going to continue to just read it, which it's very good.
Yeah. So there's. Well,
are you looking it up? I don't want you to tell me.
No, I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm looking up. Let's just say. I'm not going to say anything, but let's just say it's not clear cut.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think they purposely left it up right now to people's imagination. What's really going on with that? Some people think maybe it's double bladed, and it appears that she's built it off of her staff.
Yeah. Back in the day when we was in elementary school and we had that one pin that had all the different colors, that's what it is. That's the lightsaber version.
Exactly, yeah. So, and it would be cool. I think it would be cool if it changes colors, but the reason is she has multiple kyber crystals in there. And like, let's say she has Anakin's in there, and she has Luke's in there, and then she has her own in there.
Yeah.
And that would be kind of neat, but again, we don't know.
So what we do know is because I looked it up to verify this, but her hilt is in fact a part of her original staff that she always carries around. She just cut off the end and utilized that as the hilt of her saber, which I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. If they're going to use it, why not that? So that's pretty cool. Secondarily, I do love the ignition system. She flicks that ring.
Yeah, it flicks it. Yeah,
that's pretty
cool. Very cool.
And so let's talk. I mean, just a quick second, we kind of already hit it, but there is several rumors about how she gets those color flashes and how she even has the kyber crystal, and I don't want to get into all that necessarily because there's just rumors and who knows if what's true and what's not. But one thing I do like is that we do see that her saber color is yellow, and so yellow in canon still it primarily has been used by Jedi Sentinels.
Well, I don't know. I don't think that's really canon anymore.
Well, I mean, but the only time we ever see it is when in canon Clone Wars, when we see Sentinels in the Jedi Temple.
You mean the
actual Sentinels of the
Jedi Temple guards?
Yeah. So the actual term Sentinel, which is like protector of, that. So there was this, and for those of you who may not know, there was this whole color scheme. Like there's meanings behind everything. So like blue was guardian, I believe it was, or green.
Yeah, Legends got real into that stuff. But
yellow is
again,
Sentinel,
I think canon has really tried to stay away from trying to name a color, label the colors, whatever. Anything. Yeah. I think they've tried to get away from that.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we're going off of that system, though, I could easily see how she's kind of like, she's the last one. She's the protector of all the sacred text. She's the protector of all, So I could see them leaning towards that. But I guess officially we have not seen that confirmed that, okay, yes, yellow still is the Sentinel. So anyway. So in terms of how she got the yellow, it could be, there's been some theories that she actually combined Luke's and Leia's kyber crystals from the lightsabers that she puts into the sand, and different things like that. So we really don't know, but one thing it's just pretty cool. So and I'm hoping
Totally.
totally cool, man. So I hope we get to see more of that in the future, and I'm sure we will. Let's tackle second. Right. Let's tackle the second part of that question, which was
we've talked about this before.
We have, yeah.
And so let's make it a short answer,
right? Just to reiterate, he says, could Rey have achieved true balance to the Force, and could it be true balance if there is a Jedi and no Sith? Could Rey be a great Jedi? So, like I said, we did kind of answer that a couple times before in previous episodes, but just to reiterate, it just depends on what your definition of quote unquote balance is. Yeah. But according to what we've read in Star Wars lore, is that balance, or the Sith corrupt the balance.
They corrupt the balance.
And so Jedi, it's not like light versus dark. The Sith, which is the darkness, is actually corrupting the balance.
Right.
And so when technically, if there is all Jedi and no Sith, it's technically balanced because there's no corruption of the balance.
Which again, it's kind of hard. I think for most of us, we do view it more like light. You have to balance the light and the dark.
Right, but you have more than the other.
But really, that's not what George Lucas's original purpose and intent was. The intent was that the Sith, the dark side corrupted that. And so basically, yes, she did. Right. By defeating Palpatine, she brought balance back to the Force.
Yeah. So, like I said, if you want a more in-depth answer, we do have. I don't remember which episode it is off the top of my head.
Yeah, I can't remember.
We mentioned a
couple.
But
we
times.
Talk about we the focus of that one was more on Anakin. Did Anakin still
bring balance?
Which we also believe that he did, and that unfortunately it got corrupted again, and then Rey had to bring it back.
Right.
So and also. In that moment, I also like to believe, and I know people have different opinions on this as well, but I like to believe that moment, it wasn't just Rey anymore. It was all the Jedi versus all the Sith.
Exactly.
And so it was the Jedi as a whole. Mm-hmm. They were the ones that restored balance in that moment.
It wasn't just one person.
It was Rey. Rey was the vessel that was used, but it was a much bigger picture. Yeah.
So anyway, if you want a more in-depth answer on that, you can go check out the other episodes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we talk about it forever in that episode. I don't remember
for a long time. I think that was like a really big part of our episode. Anyway, so let's move on to our last and final question for the week, and that comes from Noah Aguilar, and he says, "How many Jedi do you think are still around by the time of A New Hope?" So first of all, I'll just go ahead and say right off the bat. So Jedi is a very specific term, right? So if you were to say how many Force users or how many lightsaber wielders, that'd be a much broader question. But, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Yoda does mention that at that time, the only two true Jedis left was him and Obi-Wan. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, at that time, there really was only Obi-Wan and Yoda, who are true Jedis left during the time of New Hope and on.
Well, when Yoda talks to Luke, he basically tells Luke he will be the only one. Luke will be the only one because Obi-Wan was already gone at that point. Right. And Yoda was, Yoda, but
so let's kind of broaden it though. So say let's take out Jedi, that kind of specific term, and let's just say Force users or lightsaber wielders. That can open up a lot. During the time of New Hope, we have Ahsoka, obviously, is kind of the one we know for a fact is still alive, who's not really a Jedi, but she's still a light Force user who wields a lightsaber. We have Ezra Bridger. We assume at this point Cal Kestis, but he could be dead at this point. We don't know.
As far as we know,
until the second game comes
Cal
out,
Kestis should be alive.
Yeah. Until otherwise notified.
Yeah, otherwise notified. Which technically he does consider himself a Jedi. So.
Well, yeah. So then he might be dead. Then
he's probably dead.
He's either dead or he's not, or he changes his mind because he meets Ahsoka or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But I like to think if there's another Jedi that's alive, it might be. Oh no, I just forgot his name.
I don't know who you're talking about. So I can't help it.
Dreadlocks.
Oh no.
You forgot it too.
I would literally know this any day.
We just talked about him not that long ago, about the Dark Disciple book. Man, I can't believe I forgot his name.
Saul Guerrero? I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh.
Most of you guys probably know who we're talking about.
I'm going to...
Just look up Dark Disciple and it'll say the name of him. Quinlan Voss. It just came
Voss.
to me.
Yeah, as soon as I pull it up. Yeah.
Quinlan Voss. I like to think he's out there somewhere. I'm still waiting for the story about where he does after Order 66.
Yeah.
And again, he might be dead. There might be a story eventually where Darth Vader and him fight, and that seems to be a common theme, unfortunately.
Because that's the whole point of Darth Vader's existence post Episode 3, pre-Episode 4.
He goes through and wipes out all the hidden Jedi.
Yeah.
So by A New Hope, I think there may be a couple, but as of right now, I think it's mainly just Luke. Who's supposed to
during the New Hope.
During A New Hope, yeah.
Which was to be Yoda and Obi-Wan. During the New Hope. That's what he's saying.
Oh, he's saying during A New Hope.
During the New Hope.
Right, so Yoda. Okay, so Yoda and Obi-Wan, yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, okay.
Sorry, I was thinking I was getting a little past that, but
you're good. All right, well, so anyway, that concludes our Q&A today. If we did not answer your question, hold heart. We will answer your questions. Next week, you'll be the first ones, and you're going to kind of skip all the new questions that's going to come in, and you'll be the first ones there. So, but we thank everybody for asking questions and continually
we really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. We really appreciate it. So, without any further ado, spoiler alert. We're moving on to our main topic, which is the review of Star Wars Episode 6 and Clone Wars, or Star Wars Clone Wars Episode 6, Deal No Deal. So,
Deal No Deal.
Yeah. So let's just jump right into it. So first of all, just to give, that very brief synopsis, we see Trace and her sister Rafa basically trying to do another score. Rafa convinces Trace and kind of plays on her ego by using her ship to go pick up spice from Kessel. And we have some thoughts on that, but we'll come back. Pick up the spice. They take it over to the Pike Syndicate, but during the time, Trace freaks out, dumps the spice, and at the very end, they basically, Ahsoka tries to use the, Jedi mind trick on the guy, works, but the other one gets mad, blah blah blah. At the end, they get trapped. So, overall, my opinions, I think it's just another low content episode. Was it a good episode? Sure. But was there a lot to it? No.
I just don't understand.
I don't know. I don't get it either.
I don't understand why we're getting this, why these episodes are just okay. Mm-hmm. They've had a ton of time to work on these. They know what we've loved from past Clone Wars.
Yeah.
They have all of this new information and new stories that have been told since the Clone Wars. Mm-hmm. And yet they're just kind of stale. You know what I mean?
There's just not a whole lot of meat to it, so to speak,
Yeah, and I just don't understand why. I don't know. And they're like for example, the Bad Batch. The Bad Batch was already created.
Right.
Why are they so focused on rehashing what they have so much at their fingertips, So
much content.
They have so much they can use. Yeah. I'm sure they have plenty of money, plenty of people working on this. So why were they so? Well, I'm just curious what Dave Filoni was thinking. Well, actually, I know what he was thinking. He's already said that he wanted a story about Rex, a story about Ahsoka, and then an arc about them together. But man, it's just kind of.
But just imagine what they could have done. A story about Rex. There's a lot of things that they could have done instead of rehashing something that was already created.
And the Bad Batch is kind of focused on the Bad Batch.
I
know Rex is there, and there's a lot to do with Rex in it, but I personally would have liked something that was just completely focused on Rex,
And okay, here for me, literally, and this is maybe controversial to some people, but what we saw in episode 1 with Rex, I wouldn't mind the entire arc being that. When I say what happened to Rex, I'm referring to him struggling with what's going on during the war in his mind. Instead of being the crazy loyal soldier that he was, he's now like, is this even right? What am I even fighting for? All my men are dying for what? I literally would have liked to see an entire arc just of that.
Right. Yeah.
I would have loved to see that.
Well, and we talked about it last week about how if this episode doesn't really get us in, like get a grip on it, then I'm gonna start to be like
a little scared, like what's going on.
And I'm officially there because this episode didn't do it for me.
No.
It has some neat little things here and there, and we'll talk about those.
Yeah.
But overall, it was just it was an okay episode. It looks great.
But what's this leading to?
The animation is phenomenal, and voice acting is good. All of that stuff is fine, but the story itself just isn't gripping me.
Yeah.
And what is it leading to? How in the world is this leading us to Mandalore?
I don't know. Well, okay, well, I mean, I could extrapolate and come up with some kind of thing, but at the end of the day, how does it come up with her fighting?
Is it the Syndicate?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how
is the Pike Syndicate going to somehow end up maybe
like entrapping them and shipping them over to Mandalore? Oh, well, okay, wait, hold up. Let's just throw this out there. We know that Darth Maul eventually controls the Pike Syndicate. So maybe this is a peace offering or something from them to him or something. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm wondering if maybe they'll tie it in to connect. But we need to see a little more of that. Tease it a little more, something.
Yeah.
Because right now I don't feel like, oh man, here or give us a tease of Maul. I realize this is Ahsoka's story, but why not have one scene where like showing what Maul's doing that's leading up to that? Why can't that happen?
It's just, for me, this is just like silly little stories of what's happening to Ahsoka, when she's not with the Order. Yeah. That's what it feels like.
I think no matter what the rest of this does, I'll never be able to say that this season was amazing or this is the perfect season. I think it's already ending, I think we've already gone too far for me to ever be able to say that.
Yeah.
Because we're 6 episodes in.
Yeah. I mean, we're halfway done.
Yeah. So I still have high hopes for the final arc. I do have, and I think a lot of what they've put their work and effort into is the final arc. Yeah. Now, I could be wrong. We may get to it and it be disappointing as well. But I really feel like that's what they've really focused on.
Yeah.
And so I still have really high hopes for it. But this middle arc about Ahsoka is really, really kind of bumming me. But there's one scene, and let's talk about that scene.
Well, hold on, Hans. I'm just saying, we'll save the good because we want to be positive. Let's.
You have some more negative things you need to.
Right, I want to get the negative stuff out. No, I mean, I just want to reiterate. This is a positive podcast. We don't want to talk. I mean, we don't want to be negative. We don't want to talk bad about people or about things about stuff. We want to be positive, but we also can't help but as longtime Star Wars fans, if there's something negative, we do want to point it out because it's our review, right? It's what our thoughts are. So anyway, apologize for the negativity, but we're going to save all the good stuff. We'll talk about the good stuff in just a second. But I just want to say we also have in these episodes convenient stupidity or convenient ignorance, and we have to accept bad storytelling at the expense of the show just so we can get, a means to an end. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is, for instance, we have this girl Trace, right? And she, tie me into that character, right? Like, tell me why she loves her ship so much. Show me what it means to her. She's stuck on 1313. She wants to leave. Oh, okay, that's literally every story ever that a kid wants to leave. You know what I'm saying? But tell me why that ship is so important to her, because she has all the spice on her way to Obadiah, and all of a sudden, they're talking back and forth. Oh, I can't lose my ship. I can't lose my ship. I can't lose my ship. And I told you I can't lose my ship. And all of a sudden she hits the button and dumps all the spice. You're like, what? What are you thinking? And literally, I mean, which I respect. The characters will think like that too. Like, what? What are you doing? This is the stupidest decision you can make. At least they acknowledge it within the show. But at the same time, convenient stupidity or convenient ignorance just to get to a means to an end of the Pikes taking them. I'm like, that's so stupid. That made me really dislike Trace. It really made me think, that's a stupid character now. That's a throwaway character. Now, what's the point of her? Put in the meat hook, so to speak. It really tie me in. Why is that character so important? Why is that ship so important to that character that she would literally dump all that without using her brain? Because show me that. You know what I'm saying? Right. So anyway, I just feel like they're kind of getting to a means to an end. I feel like they're rushing to get to an end product rather than getting the filler that we need.
Sure.
So
sure.
Now, with all the negativity out of the way, let's talk about all the good stuff. So there's two 2 or 3 good things that I can say off the top of my head. But let's talk about the first good thing, which
Yeah.
is the scene that we were
Yes.
referring to. So go ahead.
Yeah, so they're not used to being out in the open, I guess, flying and stuff. So they go into a lane that's supposed to. Is there a problem?
No, why?
Oh, I thought you were giving me a look. Sorry.
No, I kind
Sorry.
of spaced out. That's my fault.
Braxton all of a sudden got like wide-eyed, and he was like, I thought something was
Well,
wrong.
I was
but
thinking like
he was just
yeah.
he's just being his weird old self.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they're
Don't
going
funny.
through, and they're in a lane they're not supposed to be in, and so
It's like a military lane.
Yeah, and so you get what's his name?
The commander. What is his name?
Will something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, the narrator at the beginning.
Right.
Do it. Do it.
I'm trying to think what he says. Like, I'm Jedi General Obi-Wan Kenobi.
There you go.
Andrew's most favorite thing in the whole world.
Yes, absolutely. No, I actually hate that part. But anyways, so they're going there and they're saying like they're talking over the intercom saying
Wolf
they're gonna,
Lauren.
yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
They're saying like you're gonna be arrested and blah 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 if you don't give us your license number. Which it was funny. They're like you have to have a license.
Wait, you don't have a license to fly a ship? Yeah.
Anyways, and then you all of a sudden it switches to inside that ship and Anakin's there.
Yeah.
And you have this moment where Anakin all of a sudden he's like
he just stops talking.
he stops talking and he's kind of like you can tell he's like sensing something in the Force, and then it switches to Ahsoka and she's doing the same thing, and you notice they have that connection all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And all that hit me.
That was we kind of watched it at separate times
because
we
didn't.
We was talking about that. The first
Right,
thing we literally said, we're like, oh man, that scene right there
because
is so good.
this is technically the very first any kind of interaction that we have with them since Ahsoka handed the lightsaber and walked away.
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
is the first time in this first little moment here, and we have, you can tell, and so then he's telling Anakin, he's like, do you want me to arrest them? And Anakin's just like, no, don't worry about it. You know, and he's just like, let her go.
Yeah.
And you can tell in that moment, he knows it's Ahsoka, and he wants her to be able to just live her life, do whatever she needs to do. And
that was such a, it was like a heartbreaker / heart warmer at the same time. We're like, oh, I mean, which is interesting. It kind of echoes what happens in, oh goodness, episode 6, whenever Luke's passing by the Death Star and like he senses, I don't even remember the scene exactly.
I know what you're talking about.
But he like senses Luke's presence, and I don't know, it's kind of an interesting like comparison there, kind of like a
right,
you know, back and forth.
Yeah, but I loved that moment.
Yeah,
my favorite part of the episode by far.
Oh yeah, best. I mean, that was the saving grace of that episode, and the second part of that that I thought was a really cool, positive thing was the nod to Solo.
Yeah, we got some Solo connections, which is interesting.
Wow.
You know, with Kessel and the Syndicate there. I don't know for sure if they've ever been introduced before Solo or not, but
the Pikes?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I think yeah, we've seen the Pikes and the Clone Wars before. Now the Kessel, I don't think so, but Pikes, yeah. Okay. Because Pikes are Obadiah, not Kessel. So
right.
Yeah. Anyway.
But going to Kessel was a neat little thing there, and I think that's kind of the stuff I'm talking about. Though is just I think the only reason they were able to do that in the show was because of the movie. Because if they hadn't already shown Kessel in the movie, I don't think they would have introduced it into the show here. Right. So that's one example of how they can do some new things that they wouldn't have been able to do before.
Right. Some references.
And so that's more, I want more of that stuff.
Yeah,
give me a bunch of it. But anyways.
You know, and that's something we've talked about in previous episodes, but you know, that's what I want with Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars is a huge universe, you know, and we don't have to the movies don't have to be the movies, and the shows be the shows, and the games be the games. You know, they all can tie together because they're all still Star Wars. Right. So I would love to see that more, and I'm glad we're getting some nods here and there. You know, we want to end on that positive note, but you know, the episode itself, you know, it was whatever. But at the end of the day, they did add some really cool stuff, and I'm excited to see how as we move forward.
Yeah, I'm still excited to see where we're headed.
Yeah,
I hope for really good things these next 2 episodes in this arc.
Yeah.
I hope it really starts to head towards Mandalore. I don't want it to be a completely enclosed arc, and then you just jump ahead, and all of a sudden it's, and then it leads into. I really want this to lead into Mandalore.
Yeah,
and
I hope we see that early in the next episode. Yeah. But listen, hey, glass half full here. We're only halfway through. So we can say, oh, we're halfway through. No, we're only halfway through, right? We still got 6 more episodes.
Yeah.
And I'm exciid.
Thankfully.
At the end of the day, it's still Star Wars. I think, I hope I have my hopes and dreams for it, but at the end of the day, it's still Star Wars, and I'm excited to see what they do. But
absolutely.
Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and close this episode out today. Thank you so much for watching or listening today. We want to thank everyone so much for the continued support towards this podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
And we look forward to hearing from each of you. Like I said, please like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter for weekly news, polls, discussions, and more. I'm going to try to get into more of that. I post a couple things here and there.
Yeah, we haven't done any polls yet.
We haven't done any polls.
I have some ideas for some polls we need to do.
Okay,
we need
to
talk about
because
that.
I said I've been thinking things, but I never know exactly what
I have a couple, so
anyway.
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later.
Good. But we'll get some more stuff out there. We really want to get some fan engagement. We want to get some listener engagement. And we just want to create a community, guys.
Yeah, keep the questions and comments coming. We love every single one that we read, and we want to continue to be in communication with you guys. And
we want to have this hub of people who love Star Wars.
Yeah, and also we're 10 episodes in. We've done 10 of these now.
10 episodes. And
if you had told me how many we would have that have talked to us, listened to us, and have shared us and all of that, I mean, I never would have believed it when we started. So again, thank you guys so much.
Yeah. So we appreciate you guys. We do also want to say, please follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing. If you like us, put it on there. If you don't like us, we'll take it too. I mean, we'll probably take it down, but no, I'm just kidding.
We'll delete it afterwards.
We'll delete it and we'll cry for 3 days. No, we're just kidding. But no, seriously, though, leave us a review. We love to hear from you guys. We thank you for listening, and join us next week for episode 11. So last but not least, may the Force be with you, and we thank you for joining the Jedi Eternal.